basketball teams are a couple of tournaments or games in, some more than others. But soccer teams have gone underway. Water polo teams are starting up. We got wrestling going on.
Welcome to the club.
Exactly. Welcome to the club.
If I get one more out on this thing, I'm going to flip my computer over.
Bodie, you're kind of forlorn. a down year for the overall enjoyment of basketball. I could not disagree with you more. I love a year where, okay, great. We'll address the fact that Saints is the preordained champion of opener. Like they're the team to get. But I love a year where there is no clear favorite, and we got to figure out who's just going to randomly be hot as the season goes on. And, someone's got to win out of this fist fight. But let's start at least with Saints. That's the jumping off point where it feels like we have some established brand names. Tommy's absolute favorite high school basketball player of all time, Jurian Dixon, who we have been on since he was a San Ysidro super freshman, the best of that freshman class.
They made a whole documentary about him for Overtime.
Exactly. Jurian Dixon rocking his throne, being all about the community. Saints it feels like they are the predominant winner. Why, Bodie? Give us a little info on Saints, and then let's move on from there.
Yeah, they definitely have the deepest group of talent. I think last year they by no means were bad. They were in the Open Division semifinals, but I think going in they said we're going to play with a lot of young guys. They only had their one senior in Isaiah Brickner, and those freshmen, those sophomores that had those experience, those opportunities, they're always going to play a great schedule. That learning experience was so huge. And I think just returning so many of those guys, and even not just this year, I mean, you look through that roster and Jaden Manigu Jr., Lolo Rudolph, sophomore, Ian De La Rosa, sophomore, Jurian Dixon Jr., Darius Carter Hollinger's in the sit-out period, but he's a junior. Like, this is a team, not just this year is the favorite, but they're going to return almost all these guys for next year. So not to say they can't be beat. I mean, they are only losses to a Sierra Canyon team that wasn't at full strength, but San Ysidro played them to 4 points. They're going to be a great team, a team that I've ranked 6th, even though they're 0-3. So I think outside of that top spot, I shouldn't say bad's the word, but it's just there's a lot early on that no one separated themselves. We've seen a lot of close games. Maybe some surprising results, and maybe teams are just working themselves back into where they should be. But I think early on, it's Saints and a wide gap between that next group.
Tommy, I'm curious what catches your fancy in the basketball realm. I know that your alma mater on the girls' side is going to have a runaway favorite year, but no.
Terry Bamford, the GOAT.
Yeah, Terry Bamford, man,
she's the best.
Terry Goatford.
No, I mean, I kind of what Bodie's saying, but I look at that as a positive. I think we're going to have a lot of parity. I think we're going to have a lot of close league matches, league races, and division playoffs as well. Should be very, very exciting year for basketball because, like Bodie said, there's no runaway favorite. So we're going to have a lot of these teams kind of bunched together. And again, beanie off to Cathedral, or not to Cathedral, sorry, Saints. Jeez, that was like the opposite. For keeping it within 5 points of Sierra Canyon. Also, a lot of these, got to keep this in mind basketball too. Up until, probably 2 weeks ago, a lot of these kids were still playing football. So take the early scores with a grain of salt. It's going to take them a while to get their basketball legs back, if that's the term that can be used. I don't know if I think I just made it up right now, but it will take some of these teams a little while to round out properly because they're getting the rotation set with the football kids that just came in. So you're going to see some teams have great second halves that you didn't think about in the beginning of the year. So I look forward to that too.
And the one other thing I'll say on that, just looking at the preseason divisions, there's so many teams that moved from last year, whether you're looking at Division 2, 3, 4, so many moved down from D1, like Calexico moved up, they're a Division 2 team. That's something we rarely see there. Like just going through, there was so much movement last year, maybe because it was tough to figure out. Some teams last year played a full schedule, some got in 10 or 12 games. So I think that'll be something we'll see as the year goes, that maybe just because Saints is an open division favorite, Division 1 through 5 can still be extremely competitive without really a huge favorite at this point.
Yeah, I'm all for, especially basketball being a sport where there's parity, because football, you can always have those teams that are like, oh, we should have been 7-2 instead of 5, or 7-3 instead of 5-5 because of a couple of different bounces. Basketball, you got enough sample size that ultimately, if you're, if you're several games under 500, you're several games under 500. If you're at 500, you're an average team. But I really think that right now, the other one that to me, let's not get away from is Torrey Pines. Otto Landrum is their signature talent this year. The big man down low, committed to Boston University, BU Bulldogs. That feels like a John Olive special. Just have a big guy down low that can run the post and not necessarily do it with a ton of flashiness. Like
that's like the breadsticks at Olive Garden.
Yes,
their go-to.
They're nonstop.
And just to add on Otto so far, I mean, he was kind of a secondary role in past seasons. Last year, such a talented group, obviously, but this year through 5 games, he's averaging 27 and 11. So
that's what I'm
saying. He's definitely taking his shoulders.
He's got a great role model on his coaching staff.
Yeah,
and Jake. So that's what, like, hey, dude, be like Jake. Just do what Jake did. So yeah.
You just rattle off some of the biggest wins in school history. Deal.
Yeah.
Just be like Jake did. Yeah, I think that, looking around on the guys and girls side, we have, I would say, less numerically than we have had traditionally, commitment wise for just going into the season. But, we're getting there. We got, I think about a dozen players between the guys and girls side that have signed D1 letters of intent. A little bit more heavy on the girls side of things this year. So I'm looking forward to maybe some new plot lines, some new identities being forged, and some untraditional dominance being held. Also, I'm just looking forward to the fact that I get to interact with Don Dumas at Bonita again, because I love that guy, and I like Aaron, and I like Haseen, and I like all the gang. There's going to be a lot of that coming and going. The 2 things that I will close out before I say adios. 1, Bodie may announce the official new sponsor of the Holiday Classic.
Yeah, let's go ahead. The Holiday Classic presented by SB Live Sports.
Hey,
that means our boy Bodie is officially in charge of the Holiday Classic.
I wouldn't say that.
Rename it the Bodie de Silva tournament.
But the Bodie de Silva, who's very much still alive. This is not an in memoriam.
Yeah.
He's alive. He's fine. We just love him. Bodie, are you okay with that being the title? The whole paragraph.
Might be a little long for T-shirts and programs.
It starts on the front, finishes on the.
Yeah, the ink is just too expensive now. They can't even do the tournament. Waste all the money on the ink for the T-shirts.
Yeah, no more selling T-shirts. You're just selling NFTs at the event.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And then the second.
We gotta get Colton on that. I just assume anyone under the age of 25 knows how to make them. Does he know how to make them?
I've heard they're kind of like Bitcoin in terms of it requires a fair amount of computing power.
He can't create them. He's got to know how to code.
Let's fire it up, man. He wants to cover soccer, but let's take him in the direction of coding. That seems like
exactly. You need to code NFTs first.
Code NFTs. Man, I blanked on the second thing because I got so distracted with thinking.
Holiday Classic.
Yeah. Man, I genuinely don't remember. I'll figure it out. I'll tweet it. I'll post it to our Instagram. We appreciate all you guys coming in. We're going to have just an announcement for later today. We got Canyon Crest Tennis coming in. So stick around and subscribe to the YouTube and all the different podcasts. You can follow Tommy at Real Tommy Morris. You can follow Bodie at SD Preps or at SB Live CA. One more time, go download that Scorebook Live app. I am Mr. CPED, and the show is SD Prep Insider. We'll talk to you guys soon.